Welcome to Everything All Right, the literary talk. My guest today is the award-winning noir writer Heleen Kist, whose latest novel, What I Hid From You, is out now. Heleen writes in English as a second language and is also both trad and indie published. So there's a lot to talk about. Welcome, Heleen.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. Tell us a little bit more about What I Hid From You.
So what I hid from you, which is that one also here, is the story of Radha Bakshi, a dentist in Glasgow who is traumatized by the death of a patient in her chair and just generally struggles with juggling, as many of us do, sandwich generation, mother, working person, daughter, wife, and becomes addicted to Valium, sadly, which through a mishap lands her in the menacing clutches of Glasgow's underworld.
So what inspired you to write this story? Any true
Well,
encounters?
my first, no personal experience, but my first novel, In Servitude, is also around what would happen if, just an ordinary middle-class woman became accidentally embroiled with Glasgow's underworld. And it came from having moved from Edinburgh to Glasgow, and it had such a dark reputation that my imagination went wild. So in a sense, the first one, In Servitude, and What I Hid From You, they're not a series by any stretch, but they're set next to each other and have a similar sort of setup.
It has a dark reputation. I'm just reading Shuggie Bain. I had actually no idea about Glasgow's sort of dark underbelly, if you can say that. So do all your books have a Glasgow or Scottish setting?
They do all have a Scottish setting. I've lived here for 21 years, but Stay Mad, Sweetheart is actually set in Edinburgh. It's quite a different beast to the other two in that it's more of a feminist corporate thriller set in a data science startup. And it examines the kind of gray areas of consent, harassment, and discrimination in a very empowering, whoop kind of way.
I love the title of the books and equally the very quirky, very different plots. When I had a look at them. So how did you get into writing? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I got into writing very late, actually. I wasn't one of these people who always had a notebook and always dreamed of writing. I was 47 and I saw a bunch of people around me, be it from university in the Netherlands or from my high school, my French high school, publish books. And I thought, well, maybe I should, if this guy can do it, he wasn't a literary person in school. If this guy can do it, I can do it. And so one sunny 1st of January, I posted on Facebook to all my friends, this year I shall write a book. And that was my way of committing to this crazy new hobby, having previously done other crazy things like stand-up comedy, just for a change. And really, I thought this is going to be something, I'll self-publish it. My mom will read it, maybe two of my friends, and that'll be that. And it's just a crazy thing. But when I had sent it off to a beta reader and a developmental editor, both came back very complimentary and very quickly. So I thought, oh, this is a real book. I've written a real book. And really, once In Servitude came out and people started responding very positively, and the first, it had been out 3 weeks and already people were asking me, when's the next one out? I thought, oh, I better keep going.
So did you then
get... That's kind of how it happened.
So did you then get serious?
It's serious in my attempts, let's put it that way. And that might bring us on to the indie versus self-published trajectory. So I did then think, okay, I have something of value. And I tried the agent route. And you mentioned the books are quirky and different. And that's not necessarily what people tend to be looking for. I think it's harder sell. My advice to writers starting out would be, if you can start out in a genre that is very clearly defined, you're going to have better odds. But I was doing it as a creative endeavor. The book was finished also, and I just had to go, in a sense. Obviously, did some hard work, did research, took the James Patterson masterclass, that kind of stuff. But ultimately, so I didn't get picked up by an agent then. And Bloody Scotland, the International Crime Writing Festival up in Stirling every September, has a thing where you can they showcase crime in the spotlight, authors, up and coming new authors. And I applied for that. And I figured if I get in, I'll self-publish because I'm going to have a book in September. So I did get in, I did get showcased, and that was then published in August. And with that, I then wrote Stay Mad Sweetheart, thinking, well, the Me Too movement is obviously very topical. I found that a lot of the books were very much, there's a very clear baddie, you know, and the baddie is very bad. The baddie is a rapist, or the baddie is very obviously bad. And, you know, my own work experience, my own experience as a woman is, it's never, well, it is obviously, if you get raped, very clear cut, but in everything else, and in discrimination and the you know, the lads jokes and stuff like that, it's really a fine line, and people look at it very differently. So I wrote about that. Suits, the TV show, was hugely popular. It's got a bit of a sense of Suits, and I thought, oh, this will do well. But again, you know, the feedback was, love this book, do not know how to market it, and that was unfortunate, because I thought it was very topical and it would do well. But thankfully, Sean Coleman of Red Dog Press, who I approached after he'd kind of teased an author on Twitter, and I thought, oh, I like his sense of humor. So I approached him, and he, within a day, saw the potential. And you know, the Red Dog, I was their second author, and Red Dog have continued to take a punt, if you like, on more genre fluid books, as well as more traditional cozies, etc. And so I'm very grateful for that opportunity. But it's very hard for small books, small publishers to get through. At the end of Stay Mad, I actually, you know, once it was published, I did get an agent for What I Hid From You, but it, you know, the publishers have the same issues. Oh, this is a great domestic thriller with gangsters. Oh, great book, great writer, love it. Don't know how to market it. And so, because it was of a similar theme to In Servitude, I decided to self-publish this one as well, and just have kind of two strands running.
And then crime and noir is notoriously twisty. So how do you go about planning your quirky plots? Do sort of these elements just sneak in, or do you have a murder board, a storyboard?
Oh, that's very planned.
Well, you can always hope.
Yeah, I am. I get teased by my author friends. I am probably the most plotter of plotters. Even Marriott Todd, who has spreadsheets, I have even more. It is all kind of in Post-its and whatever, but then I write down an outline of about 13,000 words, so a condensed version of the book, really, where everything's in there. And so it does take me a while to plot everything out, but all the little nuances, all the little twists are in there. And you know, you start with a very simple sketch, and then you add a twist, and then you say, okay, we need more pressure, we need more, you know, it needs to be more tense. There needs to be something needs to happen here, otherwise it'll lull. So that pace is very much designed at the initial sketch. I then write, which is kind of, you know, making the full drawing. And then my second draft tends to be coloring it in terms of emotion and a little bit more depth, a little bit more color, you know, use of the senses more, describe the trees a little bit more, which I don't do an awful lot of. Obviously, they're pacey thrillers, but you know, still bringing that whole sense of place and that relationship with your character even deeper.
And the sense of place, speaking about that, are you fully immersed into Scottish ways, or do you still have a foreigner's eye that allows you actually a more forensic observation? Because you're not inside, you're outside.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. So I've been here long enough that you know what the customs are, and the language also, obviously, which I recreate. Not that I have many gangster friends, but yes. But I do think, certainly in Servitude, you know, if you read between the lines, there are observations around the economic disparities within Glasgow in particular, the yes and no sides of independence feature, just, you know, in passing, in little events, little vignettes. These are observations around the division, even the football, you know, the religion, the sectarianism in football makes an appearance. And these are things that I find very interesting as a foreigner, that a country can be so divided. Not, you know, one side believes all these things. It's, you know, when it comes to independence, you've got these people and these people. When it comes to football, it's these people and these people. When it comes to, you know, and so that I think is my foreigner's eye. I don't think it's so much in What I Hid From You. I I don't know, actually. That would be interesting to have a reader tell me.
If you have Gangsters and the Me Too movement, are there bits you find hard to write?
Hard as in emotional or difficult as in
Yes, I
research?
suppose these things blend your emotions and how you then bring the descriptions to the page.
Yeah, I mean, for the gangsters, obviously, you have to imagine how you would feel, because I write very much in the first person, and it's very close first person point of view. So you really have to imagine being in that situation with ultimately quite scary people, and having that tension and anxiety run through you all the time. And so you have to push yourself to embody that in mentally. And I'm a bit of a failed actress, so I I kind of can do that. The Me Too movement, obviously, there is a scene that kicks off quite a lot of trouble for one of the characters in Stay Mad Sweetheart, which is a situation of dubious consent. And some people will think, that wasn't so bad, and other people will, and did. The reviews were very divided on this, and I set out to do that. And writing a sex scene like that was quite difficult, because obviously, you go back to when I was 17 or whatever, and you think, oh, actually, that guy, I don't remember. Yeah, but I was there, and, did I do that? So, but also just getting that fine line, just to know that somebody might consider this very bad and somebody might consider this okay. I think that was more the challenge. And then the everyday sexism that runs through the book is something that I've observed, that I have experienced, this endless, come on, smile, it won't be that bad, stuff, it's all in there. And that was almost cathartic, to just show people who don't experience this, because I had a lot of male readers, because it's not an anti-male feminist book. It's very much, here is what we go through. And please be aware of that, and please become an ally. So it was very cathartic to be able to just point out all these little things and have people say, gosh, I never realized.
Tell us how you get into your headspace. What does your writing day look like?
Oh, that varies enormously. So where I am now is my garden office. And if it's not too cold, I'll probably be in here. And I am standing at a standing desk, and this is kind of bookshelves that I had made with old furniture. So it looks a bit weird, like I'm lying on the floor under the coffee table, but I enjoy it. And but equally, when I'm plotting, interestingly, I need a lot of space. And I'll go to the dining table inside the house with rolls of wallpaper and just draw things out, or 100 different pieces of paper, and try something out, let it run its course, and then go, no, that's not going to work. So move back, try something else. So I need space then. But when it comes to the writing itself, I can be here and just cracking. I tried dictation with what I had from you, just to speed up a bit, because I'm not the fastest writer. But it made more typos than when I typed, so it became a lot of work.
What is your top tip to NASA novelists? Apart from staying, in a clear genre.
Yeah,
At least
I mean, obviously, write what you love, right? But if you are trying for this to be your bread and butter, then your safest bet is to write in a genre. But now, I am not expecting this to be my bread and butter. I have a day job as a strategy consultant, and this is a great addition, and brings color and a huge amount of social life to me. And I think that is one of the things I would say to nascent writers, is get to know your other writers, because particularly in crime, everybody's super welcoming. Everybody's super nice. I spend a lot of time on Twitter, which, objectively you think, oh my God, what a waste of time. But I have made so many friendships of people that I have subsequently gone on to meet, to have parties with, to be at events at. And it's really worthwhile and enriching. And I know that quite a lot of writers tend to be quite introverted and a little bit shy. And I think just try to step out of that and make friends, because even when you hear the stories of what they've gone through, you can, like anyone with experience, that can help you navigate the swamp or the quagmire that the industry can be.
So what's next in the swamp for you?
What's next in the swamp is I have completed a fourth book. It is a proper old school locked room mystery, so you don't actually know how the people die, and but it's very modern in that it's set in the penthouse gym of a apartment building in Edinburgh, a residence apartment building. That's my agent has it. It's on submission to publishers, so I'm having another go. It fits a little bit more again on that shelf, of locked rooms, but I can't help being quirky, and I've made it a little tongue-in-cheek. And people, again, feedback's fantastic, but it's like, oh, I'm not sure it's thrillery enough then if there's too much humor in it. My view is the screen industry has had enormous success with what they call dramedies. So they're dramas, but with a hint of comedy. And if you think about Knives Out, which was one of the biggest grossing movies of the last few years, and they're making a $500 million budget sequel to it, there is an appetite for murder mysteries that are dark and serious, but also have a little bit of a playful tone. So hopefully they'll get picked up.
That sounds fantastic. I'll keep my fingers crossed. And we've already arrived at the 5 faves. So very quickly, without thinking, your favorite movie?
Oh God, The Outsiders.
Favorite book?
Prayer for Owen Meany.
Music or
by
song?
John Irving, sorry.
Okay. Music or song?
I don't have anything by Bon Jovi.
That sounds rock and roll. Favorite food?
Yeah, chocolate cake, chocolate whatever.
And the favorite travel destination? Where are you off to in the summer?
We are actually going to Croatia, and it is the only country I will have been to 3 times because it is fantastic. So I would recommend that.
I hope for sunshine. So thanks for listening and watching Everything All Right. My guest today was Heleen Kist, and we talked about her current novel, What You Hid From Me, which is independently published. Order it online, or better still, in your local bookstore. I'm Ellen Alpsten. Subscribe to Everything All Right, and listen and watch us next week.